All right, we're back talking golf. PGA Tour, another stop, signature event, Genesis Invitational. And of course, we're going to give our picks, our analysis, and one and done options between myself, Jared Smola, and Hall of Famer Jan Stevenson. Before we do that, though, I'm going to start the broadcast off with this little clip from last week.
The guy that pops to me, and you mentioned him a few minutes ago on that showing right now at 150 is Nick Taylor.
Oh
Who's
yeah,
in the mix
sure.
here, and is just playing good golf. You know, won a tournament last year. So I think Nick Taylor at 150. I think that's too long for him.
Yeah, that's because maybe he just wasn't very good at this golf course because he just wasn't all that very good up until last year.
I think that's right. I think that.
All right, so yeah, we did talk about the winner that was actually up to 170 to 1 on last week's show. And a matter of fact, let's also check out, this is another reason why you want to subscribe and follow Jared at Smola Golf Bets, because you can see here, this is Jared's final card. This is Saturday. Here, you see this Wednesday night, February 7th. So he puts out his final card for the week. And here are his, of course, these are all the big bargains here. And then look at this one, by the way. Cameron Young, who almost did it, had a really good showing. And then Nick Taylor at the bottom at 170 to 1. So awesome job, Jared. And this is why, even though this wasn't in your picks, this is why we always talk about this. It's not always about our picks of the week. It's about breaking down other key players, other long shots, which we talked about towards the end of the show, which is why you got to listen and watch the entire show, because we talk about a lot of different players to keep an eye on, including Nick Taylor last week. Okay, so let's get into it. And let's see the odds. Where are we? So Scotty Scheffler, once again, is the overwhelming. He's the overwhelming favorite at 6 to 1, 650 to 1, as you can see there. Okay, this is DraftKings. And you go down Rory, there's the gap to 10 to 1. And you got Hovland and Schauffele and the same old, everybody there. As I go through here, let's see anybody that sticks out. Odds-wise, I'm just going to throw out some that I think are a little bit Sam Burns, 20 to 1. That's a little low. Adam Scott, as we're going to talk a lot about him. Unfortunately, his odds have dropped to 28 to 1. Then you get some bonus odds. Wyndham Clark is still 35 to 1. Matt Fitzpatrick, Cam Young are 35 to 1. Zalatoris is 50 to 1. Jason Day's 50 to 1. So here we got some of the other. Straka you mentioned in one of your stats. He's 80 to 1. Let's see. Anybody else that sticks out here? We've got some long shots, obviously, that we're going to go over later. Ricky's just off to an awful start. He's at 130 to 1. When he doesn't play well at Phoenix, that he is struggling. Tiger at 180 to 1 in his first go-around for 2024. So there you go. Now let's break into it. And we're going to get our one and dones too. And by the way, Jan's one and dones, I already have hers. So she actually gave 4 this week. So she is still trying to figure out which one or 2 she's going with. I'm not sure if she has 2 contests. We only have 1. But Jan is breaking it down to Max Homa, Kurt Kitayama, who I picked up on our fantasy league this week, Xander Schauffele, or Adam Scott. So those are her 4 options for one and done. Let's go through the field now. All right, so let's start at the top with the 3. Scheffler, McIlroy, Hovland. And if I'm going to pick one of these 3, to tell you the truth, I might go with Hovland. I'm definitely not taking Rory. I'm just, until Rory wins early and plays well early on the PGA Tour, why should I take him? Once again, he comes out of the gate at Pebble and is 66th. Well, that was so weird, too, because he gets off to such a great start at Pebble. He was the leader at like 5 under, 6 under early on. And then, you blink and he's even par. And it was incredible how quickly things changed. He's got 3 top 10s here. He's got 4 top 20s. 2 top 5s, but he's never won. And then Scheffler has played here 5 times. He's never had a top 5. Hovland, meanwhile, has 3 top 20s out of three trips. 2 of those are top 5s. And I'm getting 14 to 1, almost double, actually, of Scheffler. That's why if I'm taking one of those 3, I would just take Hovland. I'm not taking any of the 3, but I would take Hovland.
Yeah, I didn't seriously consider any of these 3 guys. Scheffler, the putter, continues to be, he's super frustrated about it. You could see it. He let out a big F-bomb one of those days at Waste Management after he missed a short one. And he actually ended up gaining strokes putting for the week at Waste Management.
But doesn't he always?
He missed.
At Waste Management?
No. Yeah, Waste Management, yes.
Yeah.
He missed too many putts on Sunday, so it's tough to bet someone at that number when you don't trust the putter. Victor Hovland worries me because he struggled at Pebble and then he withdrew from Waste Management, and I don't think he said it, but there was a report that he withdrew to kind of go back and work on his game. So maybe he figured something out. Maybe he comes out firing on Thursday. We'll see. If I had to pick one of these 3, I would lean towards Rory at the number. I know Pebble Beach was disappointing. I think Pebble Beach is not the best course for his game. I think this course is nice for his game, with the driving distance, with the longer irons that you need. So if you made me pick one, it'd be Rory, but I don't like any of these 3 guys at their numbers.
All right, and then we've got Schauffele, Thomas, Morikawa at 16 to 1. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and flash our picks because we're going to start. All right, so there were our picks. So Justin is at the top of your list, and why not? He's been the hot name on this channel since we started talking about the 2024 season at Sony, even though he didn't play it. But he's 16 to 1, just like Morikawa and Schauffele. He's continuing to be hot. 7 straight top 12s, 4 of those top 5s. He just needs to have just that one round that just puts him over the top. He needs that 60. He needs that 62. He needs that something that just puts him at top of the leaderboard so he could stay there.
He needs the one hot putting round, which we saw Wyndham Clark use to win. We saw Nick Taylor have multiple hot putting rounds to win last week. Nothing Thomas did last week would put me off him. Like you said, he finished 12th. He gained across the board. He did actually gain putting, not by a lot, but he did. He was 7th best in that field tee to green, so the driver and the irons remained really good. If you just look at strokes gained total for this year in 2024, he's 2nd best in the field. Scotty Scheffler's 1st, Justin Thomas is 2nd. And then Thomas's last 6 appearances at this event, he has 2 missed cuts and a 20th. But he also has a 9th place, a 2nd place, and a 6th place. So he has been a bit volatile, but he has the 3 top 10 finishes, including a 2nd. What I like the best and why I'm betting him, why I might end up using Justin Thomas in one and done as well, is that he has gained putting in 4 of those last 6 events. Basically, the 4 times he did not miss the cut at Riviera, he gained strokes putting. POA is his best putting surface. So just kind of, again, fingers crossed that he has a good putting week, because if he does and the ball striking remains where it's been, I think he's going to win.
Yeah, he's going to win sooner or later. And I was noticing in our league that what is it, like 30% of the contestants have already taken him. So it's kind of early in the season, but remember last week we that was a big deal. So you got your wish,
and he did. Yeah, he did end up being the most popular pick last week.
And he didn't win, and that was big.
He didn't win.
Yep. So, yeah, in our league, big surprise, but the leader only has 1 win. If the leader would have had 2 wins, I'd be like, what the hell is this guy smoking? Give me that shit. But,
all right, yeah, there were some guys that hit Wyndham Clark, right?
It must be. Yeah, who else could it be? Yeah.
I think,
I'm a little bit surprised that nobody out of left field took Nick Taylor, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, you would think in our contest where there's thousands of people that a couple would have, but no one did. I think Thomas will be semi-popular this week, but I think with all the big names in the field, I don't think he'll be most popular. He might not even get to like 10% ownership. So I think he's a good one and done play this week.
Okay, and then you got Morikawa and Schauffele. Now Morikawa, look, the only thing that scares you is his length, but he started his first 2 appearances combined 2 under par. His last 2 appearances, a combined 28 under par. 6th last year, 2nd the year before that. He's coming off of 14th at Pebble. So yeah, Morikawa is definitely somebody to keep an eye on for sure. But that is the because we have to nitpick because there's so many quality players to choose from. So the nitpicking with Morikawa is the length and the odds.
Yeah, and he's still in consideration for me. If I had to pick another in this group between Morikawa and Xander, it would be Morikawa for me. He's not a long hitter. He's not short. He's like average. He's like tour average lengthwise, and Morikawa might be the best long iron player in the world. So even though he's a bit shorter, you give him those iron shots from 175 to 200. He's excellent on those. So I definitely think he can win here. Morikawa is another guy who, for whatever reason, has putted well on these greens the last 2 appearances. Generally not someone you think of as a good putter, but his last 2 times here, he's gained strokes on the greens.
Big reason why he's hanging in there, but still going to be hard for him to capture a win here. He would break a lot of trends, but then again, this whole season we've had a lot of trends being broken, so he wouldn't be the craziest one. Schauffele, meanwhile, has only got 1 top 10 in 6 appearances. So therefore, why would we take him, especially when his odds are similar to the 2 guys that just look a lot better than him coming in here in JT and Morikawa? And let's also keep in mind that, how about this for these 3 guys? Schauffele has not won since the 22 Scottish Open. Cantlay, who we're going to talk about next at 18-1, has not won since the 2022 BMW Championship. And Justin Thomas has not won since the PGA Championship in 2022. So these are 3 guys that each, especially Schauffele and Cantlay, their odds are pretty low every week, and yet they haven't won for we're going on almost 2 years. So that is something that you definitely have to keep in mind. And by the way, Scheffler, for a guy that is 6-1 every week, he has 1 win since the Players last year, and that was Hero. Why would you take a guy that's 6-1 every week when he's got 1 win during the real season?
I mean, the numbers say he should have won 5 times between that. So I think that's why the Bucks aren't going to give you a break on him. It's honestly sad that he hasn't won more, considering how good the TD Green play has been.
He'll put it together though. He'll have a run. He'll have one of those runs where he wins like 4 to 5. He just will. He better soon before this goes away.
Yes. So again, so for one and done, I do think Scheffler is in play just because of the prize pool. I'm going to save him for Florida. I'm either going to use him at Bay Hill or at the Players. I think he's obviously won. He's won both of those events, right? He did win Bay Hill.
Yep.
A couple years ago, and I just think again, those have the high prize pools too. So I think I'm going to save Scheffler for one of those 2.
Cantlay again, so he's 18-1. So is Homa and Aubert. So you have. Wait a second. Did I hear that? Is it Aubert now? Because I heard on the telecast that he actually told the broadcaster how he wants people to pronounce his name.
I think he wants Oberg.
Oh, he wants Oberg.
I think Oberg is. I think. Don't hold me to that.
Okay.
It keeps changing.
Yeah. All right. Now I'm really screwed up. All right. Yeah. I'll get that confirmation.
Just call him Ludwig.
Yeah, Ludwig is fine. So anyway, but I know you didn't see it, but he's my top pick. So I haven't taken him yet, and I said I was going to wait until he got some events under his belt against the big boys, and he did, and he almost captured Pebble. I think he might have if they would have played the final round. So I also have him high on my list for one and done this week. He might be at the top of my list as of today. So I think this is the perfect time to jump all over him, and he's trending perfectly. Look, he hasn't played here before. That's the crutch. We talked about the experience factor. But when you get these special players, these young players like that, it really usually doesn't matter too much that they haven't played here or there, because they haven't played here or there anywhere. I mean, they're just new to a lot of places, and they still can go out and win at a location. It's almost like a major venue. Most of these guys haven't played at this event. Now, that's what they have the advantage over him. They've played here, but other than that, he's just playing lights out.
Yeah, could have won Pebble if they played around 4. Was right in the mix at Torrey if he didn't miss, multiple putts inside 5 feet. He could have won Torrey, and Torrey is obviously a good, correlating course here. Not that
Yes.
they're totally the same, but they're both long courses, POA green. So I do think if you look at guys who played well at Torrey, that could be a good pointer for guys who are going to play well here. So yeah, I mean, Ludwig winning would break some trends, but he seems like a guy who's going to break quite a few trends in his career.
Yeah, and we mentioned this 2 weeks ago at Pebble that this would be he fits the way the season's going because he should break some. We're having trends broken now every week. Why wouldn't he fit in perfectly to that? By the
Yep.
way, 10 of the last 13 winners at this event played at the Farmers Insurance Open. Okay, didn't have to win, didn't have to play well, just play there. So that just shows you that that does come into play. All right, so Cantlay, 2 top 5s out of 6. So I was thinking about him, but and he's starting to play a little. I mean, he's coming off the 11th at Pebble. He was struggling for a little bit, so he's somebody that. But again, I had other options, and Homa. Look, this was an event we circle every year for Homa. Well, the last couple of years. And he's been lights out 4 straight years in a row. He's the 21 champ. He was runner-up last year. But the problem is the last 2 events, he's been 66th, and he's missed a cut. And that is a little unusual. He usually does not come into this event this kind of out of sync somehow. And that's the kind of reason why I guess that both of us have stayed away.
Yeah. And Homa's lost strokes off the tee in each of the last 2 events. He's lost strokes on approach in 3 straight. Now the approach has been -0.1, -0.5, and -0.1. So he's just barely lost strokes. It's not that the irons have been horrible, but it's rare. I mean, you have to go back. You have to go back to midway through 2022 to find the last time he lost strokes on approach in at least 3 straight events. I mean, it's interesting. I wonder if Homa's going to be less popular than we think in one and done because of that, which could make him an interesting one and done play. Cantlay is the other guy. If I don't use Justin Thomas, I think I'm going to go Cantlay
One
for
and
one and
done.
done. I think he worries me a bit too because he's lost strokes on approach in each of his last 2 events. Now, one of them was at Pebble. That's only 2 measured events because they don't have Shot Tracker at Spyglass. So it was just the 2 rounds at Pebble Beach, and he did come 11th there. So he was coming off a good finish, like you said. He's been excellent here. He's a good POA putter. He has kind of the all around game that you need to win here. And again, he's that higher end player I think you want to be using with the prize pool here. So Cantlay's kind of the other guy I'm considering for one and done.
Yeah, we'll have to communicate then, because obviously Justin is one of my potential options for one and done too. And since we're so close to deciding whether we take him or not, we definitely don't want to take him the same week if we can avoid it. The odds will be better off for us if we can take another player because, again, we do have other options. So we'll see. Okay. Another player at this range we just mentioned before, Sam Burns, 20-1. That's the only reason why. That's the main reason that I can't do it because he's been so inconsistent here. He was 3rd when he had the breakout year 3 years ago, and that looked really good. But then the last 2 years, he's missed the cut with a combined 10 over par. It's like, but he's got 6 top 15s in his last 7 with 4 top 10s, right. 2 top 5s, 3rd last week. So, yeah, keep this in mind. Last year, he came into the event, this week's event, after he had an 11th and a 6th. So he was playing well last year coming into this event and still missed a cut by 5 over. The 20-1 is what did it for me. I was like, yeah, if he was 28, 25 even, 30, I'd consider it more, but I can't do it at 20.
Yeah, and he did open in that 28 to 30 range, like first thing Monday morning, and I guess he's been a popular bet because he's way down to 20 or 22, and I think he's a bit overvalued at that price, so he's not in consideration for me. Burns is another guy. I'm gonna get on him as we get into Florida, because he is a really good Bermuda putter.
Yes.
POA is actually his worst putting surface. Now he's still a good POA putter, but he's not as good on POA as he is on Benton, especially not as good as he is on Bermuda. So when we get to these Florida courses, Valspar, he obviously has dominated, but I think even the players, he could be in consideration. API, he could be in consideration. So hopefully Burns waits a couple more weeks before getting that win, because I do want to start betting him, because he's playing really well.
It's too hot right now. Yeah. All right, now out of the next 11 players on the odds board, I'll just quickly show it on the screen. See, here's where we are right now. Okay, so out of those next 11, we've got a bunch of them on our picks. So let's go with two players that are next up, which are on both of my part of my picks. Jordan Spieth at 25-1 and Adam Scott at 28-1. I just could not take Adam Scott, especially since you didn't take him. I don't like the fact that his odds have dropped to 28-1. That's the thing that almost scared me off. But I have to take him because of the fact that, just take a look right now, not only does Adam Scott made 14 of 15 cuts here with 10 top 20s, 7 top 10s, 5 top 5s, 2 runner-ups, and 2 wins, but this is like the best stretch that he's had playing golf in a long time. 6 straight top 20s, 5 top 10s, 1 top 5, 8th last week. That's worldwide. So yeah, I mean, and that's why he has to, which he is under consideration for me at one and done. Because if I'm ever going to take Adam Scott one and done this year, and I might not, but if I was, this would be the week that you should take him. If anybody out there is considering him, this would be the best week to take him. And then back to Spieth. Even though Jordan doesn't have like a great resume here, he has 6 top 30s and 11 appearances. He did not make the cut last year, but as I mentioned, I think a couple of weeks ago, Jordan in the signature events last year, even though again he missed the cut here last year, he has finishes of 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So he's played really well most of the time. When he missed the cut, I believe, by 1 stroke last year. So it wasn't like he had a really bad week last week. And we know Jordan can be that type of guy. He could be off his game every once in a while, even at places where he's done really well. But I like the fact that he's coming in playing well. 8 straight top 40s, 4 top 10s, 1 top 5, 6 last week.
Spieth had the most Spiethian tournament ever last week. Just the amount of strokes he gained around the green and putting. He chipped in a few times, made a few long putts. Just a classic Spieth performance. I think this should be a good course for him. I know there's a lot of correlation too between Riviera and Augusta as far as winners. You look at John Rahm obviously won both last year. There's a lot of other crossover. Bubba Watson has won at both places, and Spieth obviously has been awesome at Augusta. So this should be a good spot for him. I did consider Spieth as a bet. Yeah, Adam Scott just got bet down too low for me. He opened at 40-1 on Monday morning. At 41, I almost pulled the trigger. I was like, 40-1 for Scott. I didn't pull the trigger. Within an hour, he was down to 30-1. He keeps sinking, and it makes a ton of sense. Like you said, awesome course history. He's playing really well. Guy just hasn't won in a long time, and it's tough for me to bet someone at that number that hasn't won in so long. Especially
for one and done, because as good as an option he is, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to take him.
Agree.
And you're taking a guy
with a huge prize pool.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want Adam Scott with a big prize pool. So.
Yeah. All right, now we go to a couple other guys that are on our picks. You have Wyndham Clark. He's 35-1. You also have Thigala. He's 35-1. And I have Fitzpatrick at 35-1. So now we're getting into some good bargains here. And I just wonder how much longer Wyndham Clark is going to be around 35-1. But here's the thing, though. And until we see it this week, we do have to keep this in mind. If you take out the 60, he hasn't really done much at all this year. He just hasn't. His results have all been in the 40s and the 30s, and that's because he had the one great round, which happened at the perfect time. He stole the win, but we know how talented he is, and it's looking like this could be a huge year for him. And he's sitting there at 35-1. It's like it's so tempting that it's almost like you can't not take him at 35-1.
Yeah, no, that's fair about the one excellent round. I think he is a volatile. Even last week. I bet him last week, so I was tracking him closely. Bad round 1, excellent rounds 2 and 3, and kind of disappointed again in round 4. So like, yeah, he does need to kind of string 4 good rounds together, or at least one,
Yeah,
60 to win these tournaments. But yeah, I mean, I just think his odds continue to be way
I know.
too high. That's why I keep betting. I mean, so if you look at the last 12 months, players in this field, he's 7th best in the field, strokes gained total. In that stretch, he's won 2 elevated events and a major. 2 of those wins came in California, which we are again here. He won at Pebble and he won at LACC last year. Poa's his best putting surface. He's actually, again, I looked at who the best putters have been on these greens over the last 5 years. Wyndham Clark has been the 7th best putter on these greens. He's 5th in this field in driving distance. We talked about that being important. He's 12th best in this field, strokes gained approach. He's 9th best on those long par 4s we talked about. And in 3 trips here, he's gone 17th, 8th, and 33rd.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
That was before he really broke out.
Yeah.
He's a better player now. So I think it's the course that he likes. So again, I just think the number's too high.
And not a bad one and done option as well, because nobody's going to take him.
Yep.
So, all right. And then you also have Thigala. And Thigala has played here 3 times. His results have been better each time, including 6th last year at 11 under par. And he's also been trending in the right direction. So that's a good combination. One that I'm going to repeat in a little bit with another player or two. But in his last 4 events, actually in his last 2, 20th and 5th. We also have to keep in mind that he started the year with the runner-up at Century. So this has been a strong start for Thigala, and you're getting 35 to 1.
Yep, just another guy riding the hot form. Thigala is 6th in this field in strokes gained total in 2024. He's a California guy. Poa is his best putting surface. Like you said, 6th place here last year. That included 4th best in the field in strokes gained approach. He was 6th best tee to green. And again, going back to that longer par 4s with difficult to hit fairways, Sahith was 8th on that list. So I think, again, this should be a good course for him. He's really figured out the driver too. I think one of our first shows of the year, we talked about how his driver had sort of been an issue. It just gets wonky from time to time. But Sahith has now gained strokes off the tee in 4 of his 5 events this season. So if he can continue driving it, well enough, we saw at Waste Management last week. He can get really hot with the irons. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for this week.
All right. Now my pick at 35 to 1 is Matt Fitzpatrick, and the same thing with Clark and Thigala. These are really good numbers, and that's really why I did it. If he was 25 to 1, 20 to 1, I wouldn't take it, but I'm getting 35 to 1 with a world-class player who's played here 3 times. He has 2 top 30s. He has 1 5th-place finish. He's trending in the right direction. There are some really good combinations there that I like. But most importantly is the fact that I'm getting 35 to 1.
Yep, agree. I think it's a good number. I like Fitzpatrick on tougher golf courses, which this is. He was 2nd on that list of longer par 4s with tough to hit fairways, so it's definitely a good spot for Fitz.
By the way, another 35 to 1 player to keep an eye on is Cam Young. And I was close to putting him on the list. I just couldn't do it because he has only played here twice. So that's the negative. But 20th last year and 2nd the year before that. That's a combined 22 under par. And he's coming off at 8th, which he actually, I believe, I didn't look at the stats, but I believe he had a good putting performance at Phoenix. Because that's what I heard. And look, from what I saw, they didn't really show him a lot, which I was disappointed in. And by the way, I know we didn't have time, and we still don't have time to talk about it, but the coverage on Saturday was a joke.
Yes.
Everything was about 16, and it was driving me freaking up the wall. So,
I was texting with my buddies about it. I said it was the worst coverage of the season so far.
Yeah, it's terrible.
The amount of irrelevant shots we were seeing on 16.
Yes.
While not seeing the leaders, but
and the 2 guys standing there, and like it's some sort of big halftime show at the Super Bowl or something. It's just so ridiculous.
I do like Kisner. He's been good on the mic. Kevin Kisner.
Yeah, and they need it. They need good analysts.
Yeah, Cam Young did gain 5 strokes putting last week. Also was really good off the tee, as he always is. I did consider him. I was basically between Cam Young, Sahith, and Wyndham Clark, and picking 2 of those 3 to round out the card. I just legitimately have serious concerns about Cam Young's ability to win at this point. I mean, we've seen it multiple times.
It's like Tommy Fleetwood.
Even on Sunday, He was right there in the mix.
And he was playing so well the first 3 rounds. He had done a great job. He'd set himself up perfectly. And then he just lost his game.
Yeah, so like, if he was 50-1, I feel like that'd be baked in more. But at 35-1, that's kind of why I didn't get there. But like you said, he's played well here, and his game definitely fits the course.
And keep in mind, he was third in Dubai, and he had like a 3 or 4 stroke lead, I believe, after the second day, and lost that. And that's Dubai on a DP tour. That's not PGA Tour. All right. And one quick thing. I don't know who it was, the analyst, the broadcaster who did it, but whoever was broadcasting the golf event, I would have a serious talking to him. Maybe a producer whispered in his ear and told him to say it, but the idiot gave the score of the Super Bowl. Now, if you are going into the Super Bowl coverage and you know it's a bad thing because they're watching the Super Bowl, but you know what? There are people who are watching golf who are probably recording the Super Bowl, you idiot. Do not give the score. So that is a reason why I think next year they might do what was it? The week before, was it? Yeah. No, 2 weeks before. Pebble. Pebble.
Torrey, right? Torrey went
Torrey?
Wednesday to Saturday, wasn't it? I think it was Torrey. Yeah, because that was the conference championship.
Okay. Yeah, they might have to do that. They might have to. So
they probably should just be safe. I mean, they got screwed obviously with the frost delays and the rain delay for that to go into the Super Bowl, but they probably should do that to be safe.
All right, now one of my last picks. I have to do it because he's 50-1. He started off at 35-1. Will Zalatoris.
Really?
Now come on now, check this out.
Love it.
In his first first appearance, 5 over par. His last 3 appearances, 4 under par, 6 under par, 13 under par. He keeps getting better every time he plays here. 4th last year. What is that combined with? In his last 3 events since he's returned, in all 3 events since he's returned, miscut, 34th, 13th. He keeps getting better. I love the combination, just similar to Thagala, and I'm getting 50-1. So I love that. I have to take him.
Yeah, I think Ludwig Oberg and Will Zalatoris will win the Genesis in their career. So if you want to just bet them every time we come here, I think you'll end up making a profit. I wasn't going to bet Will at 35, but like you said, he's drifting. He's 50 now. I think people just aren't betting him. By Wednesday, he might be 60, and I might have to pull the trigger on that. I don't think he's I don't think he's quite there yet. I don't think he's quite.
He shouldn't be.
Like he shouldn't be, but he's getting close. And again, at 50-1,
that's different.
It starts to become interesting to just take a shot that he is, because I look at the numbers, and even at Farmers, he came 13th. The approach play, it was good. It wasn't like vintage Will Zalatoris where he's top 5 in the field approach. I think he's getting there. I'm hoping he peaks for the Masters.
All right, very good. What are his odds?
I got him at 40. I think 40 or 42.
All right, and then the only other pick that I did my actual pick and our combined picks, and once again it's one of your boys, 100-1.
Luke List?
Luke List.
I considered him as well.
Yeah, why not? He won Sanderson Farms in October. He ended the year strong, 5 top 25s in his last 6. He's been a little bit cold so far to start the season, but he's made cuts. And let's remember, he also won Farmers Insurance back in 2022. You just talked about the similarities of the 2 golf courses, and his top 2 PGA results actually came between late January and late February. So that's exactly where we're at right here. He's got enough of the power game also.
Yeah.
So, he only has 2 top 25s in 8 appearances here, but we're looking for another player from, outside the range that nobody's thinking about. And if it's going to be one of those weeks, just like it's been all season, then why not Luke List?
Right. So I'm trying to find his last appearance here, he was unbelievable tee to green. Could not make a putt, which is, kind of the story of Luke List. I'm trying to see what year was it. Last year, or was it? Yeah. Last year he came 29th. He gained 11 strokes on approach, lost 7 strokes putting, which is absurd. Now he's at he's gained putting here 3 of 8 career appearances, which isn't great, but he at least shown the ability to gain putting. So he I didn't bet any long shots this week, but List was the one I was considering at 100 to 1.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to with the long shots because you just have to the way things are going. And so my top long shots outside of the actual pickup list is another one of I know you talk about him more than I do, even though we both made money on him a few years ago when he won at Pebble. But that's Hoagie, our boy Hoagie, because he's got three top 20s in his last four, sixth at Pebble, 17th last week, and his top two PGA results all time were between mid-January and mid-February. He was also 14th here last year, which was his best finish. So it doesn't have the power game, but you're getting over 100 to 1. I'm also looking at the 100 to 1 shot area for my boy Taylor Moore. I think he's still being disrespected. He started at 180 to 1. He's made 9 straight cuts. He's starting to trend in the right direction, and he does have enough of the power game. So I believe, those were my top 100 to 1 or more long shots. No pun intended. Being more Hoagie. Oh, the other two that were in the 80 to 90 to 1 range, Harris English and Denny McCarthy. Again, the length is what took me out of betting them, but as far as my picks, but I put money on them this week for sure, especially English. There's something about, I like the fact that when you take a look at English, last year in the signature events, he actually played well. He was second at Arnold Palmer. He was third at Wells Fargo. He was 12th here, so he can play well in the big events. 2 top 15s on this golf course, including last year when he finished 12th at 8 under par. He was also 10th in 2014, 17th last week, and 4 top 20s in his last 7, including 10th place finishes at the BMW and Sony. So I think he's playing well enough that he could be somebody to keep an eye on. And McCarthy's also done really well on the signature events, and we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. He's finished 14th, 25th, 8th, 2nd, and 7th in the signature events last year, and he's coming in with 3 straight top 30s, 14th last year here, which was his best finish.
Yeah, I think Taylor Moore is my favorite among those guys you just listed. He's 14th in this field in driving distance, as you said. He's also a really good POA putter, so I think he makes sense. I think Sepp Straka is the one I would look to in that range. He's 80 to 1 on DraftKings right now. Mention him as someone who does well in those longer par fours. He has plenty of distance. He won last year. He has made the cut in 3 straight appearances here, including a 15th in 2022. So he has experience at least. So I think Straka at 80 probably be my favorite long shot alongside Luke List.
Tony Finau used to be really good here. He's kind of cooled off a little bit. But and remember, he won Mexico, and Mexico's next week. So there is that. But keep in mind, he has had 1 top 5 since the Mexico win. 1.
His tee to green numbers, especially approach, have been awesome the last 2 times out. He is putting horribly, which is why I can't bet him at the number. Now, he is a lot better on bent grass greens than POA. So I think once we get off these POA greens, that could be the time to bat Tony Finau. Although next week he's going to be like 5 to 1 in that field.
Yeah, probably. And then other players maybe to keep in mind. I was thinking about Jason Day because you're getting good value at 50 to 1, but he doesn't play well on this golf course except last year. He was 9th, and he's coming off a 6th at Pebble. So the combination at 50 to 1 was why I was like, well, 50 to 1, but he just didn't make my list. I do have to keep. How about this for somebody not to take this week? JT Poston. Since his 17th finish in his first appearance, his next 5 appearances were gradually worse than the previous one. And the combination in his last 5 events this season, his results have been gradually worse. So the combination is exactly opposite of what you're looking for. A guy that's been worse on the golf course and worse on his form. So you do not want to be taking JT Poston this week. Anybody else that you like?
No, again, I'm sticking to the top of the board. I'm playing for the long shot streak to come to an end this week. Yeah, with Poston, I definitely like him on shorter courses. Not that he can't get it done here, but I don't think it's the best spot for his game, anyways.
And Bradley was another guy that I was thinking about. He came close to making the cut. He's a little over 60 to 1. He's got 5 top 20s in his last 7. He did win the Travelers last year.
What about Højgaard? You're not on Højgaard this week.
Well, again, there's only.
He hasn't played here.
Yeah, he hasn't played here. He does have the power game, no question.
Power game and came second at Torrey.
Yeah, coming off the 31st at Pebble. So, yeah, I mean, I can't take him every week, but he is somebody to keep in mind. And by the way, I would also look, if Burns gets off to a good start, then I would, if you with the live betting, keep an eye on him, because that's the thing that we were concerned about, was how he played the last 2 years. So if he's hot, if he gets off to a good start, keep an eye on Burns. And the same thing with Keegan Bradley, because he has 4 top 20s in 13 appearances, but no top 20s in his last 8. So I don't know what went on there, but if he gets off to a good start, then maybe that's somebody also to keep an eye on. So there's and this is a tournament that you're not going to be able to make a lot of money late over the weekend, because you need to get off to a good start on this golf course. There just are not a lot of come from behind winners. Most of the trends and stats tell you that you need to be. Matter of fact, the last 8 winners started the weekend inside the top 6, and 27 leaders after the third round ended up winning, including 6 of the last 8. And those are leaders. So you want to be up in front if you're going to win this event. So you don't have long. I'd say if you're live betting this week, I think you after Thursday, that's it.
Yeah.
Make some bets, and then I'd stay away from it.
Let's just hope for good weather, a normal 4-round tournament, and hopefully one of these higher end guys wins that we bet on.
Yeah, no delays. Yeah, no postponements. And like you said, let's get ourselves a win. Just wrapping up the one and dones. We both like JT as an option. Again, Aubert, Scott are my top 2 outside of JT, and Spieth and Fitzpatrick might be there as well. So those will be my 5. You like JT and Cantlay. Are you basically going to make the decision on just those 2?
Yes, I think so. I did briefly consider Morikawa. I guess if you made me pick a third, it'd be Morikawa. Again, I'm really trying to stick to the higher end guys, like the guys that are 20 to 1 or lower in the odds. I think I'm going to stick to that range, because it is, again, $4 million to first place.
All right. And we'll let everybody know who our options are. And we can let you know, of course, if you join our Discord. So you can do that. We have a link in the description. If you want to know what our option ended up being, you can just ask us on Discord. You can also ask us any questions that you have for us here on the YouTube channel. We are posting the shows not only on the new Jan Stevenson golf channel, Tee Off with Jan Stevenson, but also still we're posting a lot of the video on Prime Sports Network. So Jared, appreciate it. We have another week next week, Mexico, so we're going to talk a lot about major futures next week. And
it's a golf tournament that we can make money on. It's fine. We'll have fun with it.
Yeah, I wonder how many people are going to be using the one and done on Tony Finau next week. So
I won't be.
I know.
It's just because he's going to be so popular. I'm gonna.
Hey, maybe Mexico. There'll be it's a deep. There's some players. So there's some good depth in a PGA Tour. You never know. Maybe this will be a decent enough event next week where we can.
I hope Kitayama plays. I think he could be good there.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if he's played there before. It's just that name just came to my head, because I know it's a long, wide open golf course where just driving distance is pretty key.
Okay. Yeah.
Kitayama came second there in 2022. Is that the same golf course?
There you go. I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
They've only played there twice, right?
Yeah. I think
Rahm
that's right.
and Finau won.
Yep. Yeah, Kitayama came second to Rahm in 2022.
Okay. Yeah, so no defending champion this time around. But, yeah, we won't have a lot to talk about next week. But, hey, there'll be a lot of potential sleepers, if you want to say. So we'll try to do our best to hand you as many quality sleepers as we can on next week's show. We'll go over those majors. And that should be a lot of fun, too. You're going to take the week off PGA National. So hopefully Jan will be sitting in with me that week. And then we're into March. and that's when things really start to get interesting with the Florida swing. So, Jared, appreciate it as always.
Thanks, Greg. Good luck this week. Enjoy Riviera.
Yes, everybody out there, enjoy it, and we'll see everyone again next week.